What is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about Valium, what it's like. Is it a good buzz? Now, over the years, I have become an expert in drugs. I'm not boasting about it. I'm not encouraging it. It's just, that's the way it is. I've been a heroin addict. I've been an alcoholic. I've done most drugs. The only ones I can't really describe is probably ketamine. I'm sure I've had it somewhere along the line, I just can't remember it. And mushrooms, again, I've probably had them along the way, I just can't remember them. But all the others, I've been there, I've done that. And that's why I make videos. I try and show people what it's like living with addiction, what it's like in that world. It's horrible. And it can end up just like I was, homeless, heroin addict, half my life in prison. But anyway, let's talk about Valium today. Now, my last detox was coming off Valium and it was brutal. I was coming off other things as well at the same time. I did it totally the wrong way. I just stopped dead when I should have tapered down, but I didn't feel like I had time. So I think heroin's probably a worse detox, but Valium just, oh man, I remember hurting in ways that I can't even explain it, Like with heroin, it's bad and it's painful because all your bones are aching. But with Valium, it's like, it attacks your brain, man, and you can't sleep, you start hallucinating, you feel sick, and it lasts for ages. And I can remember, like halfway through, it might not have been the Valium, but I think it was. And I was hurting in ways that I can't even describe it, It was just so uncomfortable. But if you asked me, well, what did it feel like? I couldn't tell you, but it was just so uncomfortable. But anyway, what's it like taking Valium? Now, Valium is a really good, even though I've had a negative experience with it because I used it wrong. But if you use it right, it's brilliant. It's great for anxiety, not long term, because if you take Valium for like more than 2 weeks in a row, every day, then you can become addicted really quick and it stops having the same effect. So long term it's no good. But like short term, say like for anxiety, especially for anxiety, it's brilliant. If you've got I struggle with anxiety, but that's the trouble. When you stop taking the Valium, your anxiety comes back tenfold. That's why I struggle with it now. And but when you have the Valium, it breaks all those barriers down, and you can talk more openly, and like it's good for short term. Like say you've got to go to the dentist and you're scared of going, or you've got a big wedding coming up, just pop a Valium and just to help you get through it, so you can talk to people, or maybe a funeral, just to get you through it. But like I say, if you have it for more than 2 weeks straight, then you can become addicted to it and it stops working the same anyway. So it is really good if you use it correctly. You're just like one-off now and again for a big occasion. But I was using it every day. I used to wake up and have like 100 mil straight away, depending on how much money I had. I could buy 50 and have them all in the same day. So I was really abusing them. And it's fascinating because when you get clean, it's like, the best way to explain it is if you have like a lot of Valium, say you have 10 Valium, right? While you're buzzing off the Valium, you feel great. You're really, you can be open, you can talk to people. It just is really good. It makes you feel really good. It makes you feel like you don't care. So when you have the Valium, you feel great. You know what's happening in the moment, but then the next morning when you wake up, it's like your brain's been wiped. You can't remember a thing. It's weird. And even today, I'm still like I'll be meeting people in the street and they know me when I was on the Valium. But I ain't got a clue who they are because it's like my mind's been wiped. It's like the 2 years I was on Valium, it's like it didn't exist. And it's surreal. It's like the last time I went up to Tesco's, and some dude's come up to me and he's talking to me like he's known me his whole life, and he must have seen on my face that I didn't know who the fuck it was. And it's like, it's me, it's James. Can't you remember? He used to come round to my house with Valium. And I'm like, no idea. And it's people that I made a relationship with and spoke to whilst I was on Valium. And I went for my haircut. I'm thinking this is the first time I've been into these hairdressers. And I've gone in and she's like, oh, unusual, number one. I was like, yeah. And she's talking to me and she's like, so how's your allotment? I'm like, how do you know that? And then when I left, she says, oh, cheers, see you later, Ian. I'm like, what? How does she know me? But I must have been going there whilst I was on Valium. And I remember once, one of my mates, his name's JP from Doncaster, not JDP. He wasn't a boring cunt. His name was JP. He's dead now. Like most of my old mates are dead. That's the reality of drugs. You know, most of the people I used to knock about, they're all dead now. It's a miracle I'm still alive. Again, I'm going to talk about it now. Another time I could have died. And JP had just bought, like, I can't remember exactly. This is just a rough take on it. And he bought something like 1,000 Valium from the black, what's it called? The dark web. And he's bought like 1,000 Valium. He said they were Valium. They were advertised as Valium. And he says to me, he says, do you want to buy him 100 quid for a lot? Or something like that. And I says, no, I'll have some though. And I think I bought like 30 off him or something like that. And he said to me, he said, don't have no more than 6. He said, I had 6 last night and I thought I was getting chased by the devil or something like that. I can't remember exactly. So me, being a junkie, being an idiot, that I take that as a personal challenge. I'm like, oh, he's had 6, well, I'm going to have 10. You know, because it'll be a good story to tell. Because that's how stupid I am when I'm on drugs. And anyway, I've got back home and I've had 10. I think it was 10, but it was more than what he recommended. Like I say, this is just a rough estimate on it. And I remember coming up, I can't remember if I was drinking Foster's. I think it was Foster's, but it might have been vodka. But I remember, like, I'd had them and I felt coming up, I thought, oh, you know what, this is going to be all right. And then I just woke up the next morning on the floor. I'm like, fucking hell, they knocked me out then. And then I've gone to the toilet and I've got a black eye and I'm thinking, I must have fell out of bed and banged my head or something. And then I remember I went on Facebook and I put something like, I put a post, something like, must have been a good night, woke up with a black eye, I can't remember anything. And someone put a comment saying, no, you can't remember how you came to my house. And I can't even remember leaving the house. She says that I went round to her house. It's one of my mates, she's still going actually. And she said that she opened the door and I just fell through the door onto the floor. And then she says I got up, walked into the room and tried running head first through the patio windows and knocked myself out. I'm like, what? And I couldn't believe it. That's not even the strangest thing. The strangest thing is she'd just recently moved. So I didn't know where she lived. How I found her house, I'll never know. But, you know, that's what happened. And I couldn't believe it. I said, I can't even remember leaving the house. And then when I took my wallet out, I had white and brown crack and heroin in my wallet. I'm like, where's that come from? And I must have gone out on these tablets and been on a mission. I can't remember none of it. I could have walked into traffic. I could have fell into a river. Oh, could have happened. And it was just mad. And anyway, I still had some left. I thought, I'm not taking no more of them. And I took some to work because I was working at the time. And I gave it to one of my workmates called Dave, my mate Dave. And I says, you want one of these? I says, be careful, they're strong, you know. And anyway, he's gone away. And then the next morning he's come in, he looked rough as hell. I says, well, was it all right, that? He says, fucking hell, mate. He says, I was up all night licking window. I says, they're fucking strong, aren't they? I don't know what they were. I mean, they were supposed to be Valium, but I'm thinking they might have been like roofies or something. I might have roofied myself. But it was strong as hell. But again, it's another instance where Oak could have happened. I could have got stabbed. You know, I don't know where the crack came from. No idea. But anyway, yeah, that's Valium. In the short term, if it's used right, it can be a good drug, you know. But if you use it for more than 2 weeks every day, then it's no good. you'll get addicted, and the detox is brutal. It's right up there with heroin, and if you taper down, it might be a bit easier, but I did it totally the wrong way. I just quit cold turkey, and it's dangerous to do that. It can kill you. But I got through it, and that's why I make videos today. But anyway, that's Valium. So if you are going to use Valium, I would recommend just using it one-off, you know, for a big occasion, or, you know, just have one, like 10 ml, one blue pill, and you'll be all right. Because it breaks down all the barriers. You could be in any situation, like you could be getting jumped by 50 blokes, and if you're off your head on Valium, you don't care. You'll just be laid there buzzing, and then the next day you'll not remember none of it. But that's why they call them charge sheets, walking charge sheets, because people have them, and then the next day they wake up in their cells and on the buzzer like, dude, why am I here? I can't remember a damn thing. But anyway, yeah, that's Valium. If you like this video, press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Nerf the pop.